Hi everybody, thanks for tuning in for Vinyasa Yoga today. My name is Erica and I'm with UMBC Recreation. If you're new to this class, have never taken a yoga class before, it is structured much like any exercise class where we start with a slow warm-up, building heat in the body. We move into a flow portion of the practice where we're moving around the mat a bit more, and then we end with the cool down, finishing our practice with a final rest period on our back where we remain still with our eyes closed for about 2 to 3 minutes. Allowing all the benefits from the class to absorb into the body and sort of give time for us to turn off our physical and sort of get into our mental. Because yoga is not just about working the physical body, it's also about paying attention to your spirit and your mind as well. With that being said, I want to remind everyone to always listen to your body throughout the practice. Sometimes I'll give options to take things a step further, to try this out in a pose. If it doesn't feel right, please don't feel forced to do it. Practice for yourself and your body and nobody else's. Take breaks when you need to, if you need to. And as always make sure to check with the doctor before you start a new exercise regimen. With that out of the way, we're going to get started. And today we're going to start in the standing position at the top of our mat. So start with your feet hips width distance apart at the top of your mat. Stand up nice and tall with purpose, chest forward, palms face forward, shoulders relax down the back. We'll start with a few deep breaths. Breathing nice and deeply into your chest. And exhaling slowly out through your mouth. Take a few rounds of breath just like this. In through nose, out through mouth. Resume your normal pattern of breathing. Take your left hand over to your right shoulder. Give a little pressure, pressing that shoulder down towards the floor, and let your head fall over to the left. So head is tilted to one side as you're pressing down on the right shoulder. Starting with a nice stretch for the neck. Holding and breathing here. We'll slowly switch sides, so let your arm come down by your side and head lift through center. Then take right hand to left shoulder. Give a little pressure and let the head fall over to the opposite side. And breathe into the stretch. Again, releasing your arm down by your side and lifting head through center. Slowly lift both arms overhead, gazing up towards the ceiling. Relaxing shoulders down the back. Resisting the urge to let our tailbone tilt up towards the ceiling. Instead, send it long towards the floor, drawing belly in, lifting through the chest. Slowly lower arms down by your sides, then bring them behind your back, grabbing opposite elbows, wrapping the shoulders behind the heart, opening the chest. Tailbone stays long towards the floor, don't let it arch up. Gaze is slightly up towards the ceiling. Keeping the arms where they're at, we'll hinge forward from the hips into half lift. Chest comes parallel to the floor. Chest is still open. Put a tiny micro bend in the knees, don't lock out the joints. Send the weight forward to the balls of the feet. Lengthen out through the crown of your head. Gaze is down towards the floor. Take a few deep breaths into your chest. Arms stay where they're at and we'll lower to forward folds, bending the knees, dropping belly towards our thighs. Arms stay right where they're at. Keeping the chest nice and open, lengthening the spine. If your belly is not quite making contact with your thighs, bend your knees a little bit more. Send the belly and the chest down, but keep the hips actively reaching towards the ceiling. Now extend your arms behind you, straight back like airplane wings. And then keeping the spine long, we'll slowly, very slowly, you don't want to get lightheaded, rise back up to standing. We're going to do that 2 more times. We're going to pick up the speed just a little bit. We'll slowly lift the arms overhead, gazing up towards the ceiling, reaching out through the tips of the fingers. Bring the hands behind the back, grabbing opposite elbows, lifting through the chest. Hinging forward into half lift, chest parallel to floor, holding here, lengthening the spine, drawing belly in. Lowering to forward fold, bending the knees a bit more, dropping belly to thighs, letting the head hang heavy. Straightening the arms directly behind you like airplane wings, and very slowly we'll rise back to a standing position. This time, let's trying the movement in with our breath. We'll inhale and lift the arms overhead. Exhale, hands down and behind your back. Inhale to lift the chest towards the ceiling, and exhale into half lift, chest parallel to floor. Take a breath in here. On your next exhale, we'll lower to forward folds, belly to thighs, straighten the arms right behind you, and then inhale to rise to standing, nice and slow. Next breath in, lifts the arms straight back overhead as we exhale out through the mouth, bending the elbows down to shoulder height, lifting through the chest. Breathing here. Exhale, lower arms down by your sides. Deep breath in, arms up. As we exhale, we bend the elbows down to shoulder height, opening through the chest. Breathing here. Next exhale, lowers arms down by the sides. One last time, we'll take the arms overhead, then lower right to forward folds, bending knees, dropping belly to thighs. This time, arms and head hang heavy. Slowly rise to half lift, hands to shins, flattening the back, chest parallel to floor. Bend the knees and plant your hands down so you can step back into a plank position. Then lower the knees to tabletop, tops of feet to mat. Lift up to the tips of the fingers and round the spine into cat pose, tucking chin to chest. Slowly lift and arch the spine, gazing up towards ceiling into cow. Again, rounding the spine back to cat. Lifting and arching to cow. Use your exhale to round the spine to cat one last time. And use your inhale to lift and arch into cow. Then relax into a neutral tabletop position. Stay up on the tips of the fingers for now. Extend the right leg behind you, pointing through the toes, keeping heel in line with hip. Then give me a crunch, drawing this knee in towards your chest, rounding your spine, lifting the knee nice and high, and stepping the foot into lunge, ankle right below the knee. If you can't do that hands free, grab your foot and place it into alignment. Draw the breath in through the nose nice and slow as we lift both arms overhead, and then exhale, keeping the arms raised. Holding here. Finding length on both sides of the body, out through the crown of the head. Belly is active, drawing back towards the spine. If you do not experience low back pain or problems and you'd like to add a back bend, we'll shift the hips forward just a few inches as we lift through the chest, keeping the belly nice and active, drawing back towards the spine. And then we'll lift straight back up towards the ceiling. If you felt any discomfort in your low back, I want you to skip the back bends from here on out. Bring both hands back down towards the floor. Bring your right hand to the inside of the foot and then heel toe the right foot out to the outer edge of the mat, opening up the hip. Knees still stacked over the ankle, spine nice and long. Let's find a little bit of movement here, maybe making some gentle circles. If you're opting to make those circles, make sure you go both directions. Let's get in a little movement in the hip, maybe targeting some tighter muscles. Then find some stillness. Heel toe the foot back to the center and bring your right hand back to the outside. Extend the right leg behind you, pointing through toes, keeping leg active, and return to tabletop, knee to mat. Left leg extends, pointing through the toes. Give me a crunch, knee to chest, rounding the spine, lifting the knee high, stepping or placing the foot into a lunge position. Slowly draw the breath in through the nose, lift both arms overhead and exhale here. And we'll hold for a few breaths. Find the lengths through the sides of the body. If you like to add the back bend, send the hips forward, lift through the chest. And then return, arms straight up to ceiling. Everyone lower your fingertips down towards the floor. Take the left hand to the inside this time. Heel toe that foot out to the outer edge of the mat. Knee over ankle, opening the hip here. If you found some movement on the opposite side, do the same here, making little circles, going both directions, relieving tension from the hips. Heel to the foot back to center, hand comes back to the outside. Extend the left leg long behind you, pointing through the toes, then return to a tabletop position. Bring your elbows down to the mat, palms face down into puppy pose, so elbows stacked under the shoulders and head hangs heavy. Take a few breaths here, just creating some length in the spine. Then settling into child's pose, hips all the way down to the heels, forehead to mat. If child's pose is uncomfortable on your knees or your hips, you can rise back to puppy pose with elbows to mat. One or the other will be your rest period for the class. We'll finish our warm up here with a few more deep breaths. Breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth. A few deep breaths here. Nice and slow, return to your tabletop position, hands and knees on the mat. Preparing for down dog, tuck your toes onto the mat, spread your fingers nice and wide. If this is your first time taking down dog, we're going to take it in parts. If you're familiar, you can lift your hips into down dog now. For beginners, we're going to start by just lifting the knees off the mat and drawing our bellies in, back towards the spine. Then keeping the knees bent, we'll send the hips up towards the ceiling, pressing our belly back towards our thighs. So we're lengthening the spine, gaze is between the toes. We're going to stay here with knees bent. And even if you're familiar with down dog and your legs feel pretty tight, the muscles in the legs, you can always bend the knees and take a modified version. Upper arms are rotating outwards to expand on the back side of the body. And we're taking some deep breaths into the chest. Everyone look forward, shift your weight forward and step your right foot into a lunge. Again, you can place it there manually if you need. We'll step up to half lift, so left foot steps up to meet the right. I'll flatten my back, hands to shins. Lowering to folds, bending knees, dropping belly to thighs, arms and head hang heavy. One vertebrae at a time, we're going to round our spines up to a standing position, lifting our chin from our chest. The very last. Take your time, there's no rush. Once you make it up standing, stand nice and tall, again with the tension at the top of your mat, palms face forward. Slowly lift the arms overhead, gazing up to ceiling, and lower back to folds, belly to thighs. Rise half lift, flattening the back. Step into a plank position, bend the knees, plant the hands, and lower the knees to tabletop. Lean forward so shoulders pass the wrist, and find chaturanga by bending the elbows, keeping them close to the body, then lowering all the way down, flat to the mat. Hands under shoulders and elbows facing up towards the ceiling. We'll lift our chest to baby cobra, drawing the belly in, shoulders behind the heart. No pressure in the hands here. Then press to your rest position, either child's pose, hips to heels, or puppy pose, elbows to mat. Take a breath or two here. And slowly rise back to tabletop, preparing for down dog, tucking toes onto the mat. We lift the knees, we lift the hips, belly to thighs, knees stay bent for now if you're just starting out. Breathing here. Pressing firmly into not just the base of the palm, but the top of the palm too, and out through the pads of the fingers. Deepening the breath. Everyone look forward and step your left foot into a lunge position. Slowly step up to half lift, flattening the back. Lower to folds, belly to thighs. One vertebrae at a time will rise to a standing position. We're going to take that 2 more times through. Slowly lift the arms overhead, gazing up to ceiling. And lower to folds, belly to thighs. Rise half lift, flatten your back. Step into your plank position and lower the knees to tabletop. Lean forward for chaturanga, shoulders past the wrist, bend the elbows close to body, come all the way flat to the floor. Lift your chest, baby cobra. Use the strength of the low back to lift the chest. Then press to your rest position, child's or puppy, and take a breath or 2 here. Slowly rise to a tabletop position and lift the hips to down dog, up to ceiling and belly to thighs. If the knees are bent and you want to try straightening the legs, try straightening one at a time, pressing the heel firmly to the floor. And just hold for a few breaths here before switching to the opposite side, pressing that heel down towards the mat. Keeping the length in the spine, belly drawing in, pressing back to the thighs. And then just try switching back and forth and playing here until you feel comfortable, maybe trying to straighten both legs. But don't rush yourself. Everyone look forward and step your right foot into lunge. Step up to half lift, flattening the back. Lower to fold, belly to thighs. And nice and slow will rise to standing. Take your time. Remember that chin comes up from the chest last. Last time through, deep breath in through the nose to lift the arms overhead. Slow breath out through the mouth, lowering to forward fold. Breathe in as you rise to half lift. Exhale as you find your plank position and lower the knees to tabletop. Take a breath in here. As you exhale, find chaturanga, lean forward, bending the elbows, coming all the way flat. Use your inhale to lift your chest to baby cobra, and your exhale to press into your rest position. And bring your focus to your breath here. Take note of how you feel in your body. What thoughts are going through your mind. Inhale as you rise to tabletop and exhale into your downward facing dog, hips up to ceiling. It's completely up to you what you choose to do with your legs. If you're trying to straighten both legs and you notice that your back starts to round, go ahead and bend the knees again. You don't want to lose the length in the spine. Everyone deep in the breath, giving me a few deep breaths in through the nose and out through the mouth. In through nose, out through mouth. Look forward and step your left foot into lunge. Step up to half lift as you draw the breath in. Exhale back to forward fold, belly to thighs. Drawing the inhale out as you slowly rise to a standing position. And exhale at the top. Next, inhale in, both arms come back up. Exhale to fold, belly to thighs. Inhale to half lift and pause here. Back is flat, don't hold the breath. Step your right foot back into a lunge position, bringing your fingertips down towards the floor. You might need to take a few kicks to get that foot back there. Left knee is stacked right over the ankle. We're on the tips of the fingers. Bring your hand to your thigh and then lift the chest upright, extending the arms overhead into Vinyasa. Roll on the ball of the right foot, and left knee is still locked right over that ankle. Take a few breaths into your chest. Option for a back bend to your legs, stay locked in place. Find the lift from the upper chest as you reach the arms back, gaze up towards the ceiling. Core is nice and active. Don't let that belly hang slack. If you're in the back bend, we'll extend the arms straight overhead once again. Everyone open a 5-pointed star facing the right side of your mat, planting your feet flat and lowering your arms down to shoulder height, then lower them down by your sides. Bring hands to your hips and turn the toes out so they're facing away from one another. Take a deep breath in through your nose, and as you exhale out through the mouth, we'll bend the knees into goddess pose, stacking them right over the ankles, sending hips down towards the floor. And we'll take a few breaths here, helping to lengthen the spine, open the hips a little more. See if those hips can sink down closer to the floor. And pressing firmly onto all four corners of the feet, so outer and inner ball and outer and inner heel. If that forces you to straighten the legs a little bit, that's okay. You want those feet nice and flat. Straighten up, rising towards the ceiling. Turn both feet forward. We'll hinge forward at the hips to bring our fingertips down towards the floor. You might need to bend the knees to make that happen. Then left foot's going to turn to face the front of the mat, and we'll walk our hands back into a lunge position, framing the forward foot back on the ball of the right foot. Step back into your plank position, lower the knees to tabletop. Lean forward for chaturanga, bend the elbows all the way flat. Inhale to lift the chest to baby cobra, and exhale to child's, hips to heels. Taking a moment of stillness here. Attention comes back to the breath. Following the breath into relaxation. Calming the mind. Inhale as you rise to tabletop, and exhale to your version of down dog, hips up to ceiling. Give me a few deep breaths here, in through nose, out through mouth. Look forward and step your right foot into lunge. Step up to half lift as you draw the breath in. Exhale to forward fold, belly to thighs, and draw the inhale out as you rise to standing. Exhaling at the top. Deep breath in, arms come up. Exhale to fold, belly to thighs. Inhale, rising to half lift. Step your left foot back into a lunge position, right knee right over the ankle. Bring hands to thighs and extend the arms overhead into Anjaneyasana, holding here. If you're opting for the back bend, find a lift through the chest, draw the belly in, keep it nice and active, gaze is up to ceiling. And then we'll return to Anjaneyasana, spine upright. Open a 5-pointed star facing the left side of the mat, feet flat, arms at shoulder height, then lower arms down by your sides and bring hands to hips. Turn the toes out, facing away from one another, taking a deep breath in through the nose, and as we exhale, we'll settle into goddess pose, knees over the ankles. Take some deep breaths here into your chest. Inhale to rise back to standing and turn the toes forward. Hinge forward at the hips, bringing fingertips down towards the floor. Right foot turns to face the front of the mat, and we'll walk our hands back into a lunge position. Step back into plank. Drop knees to tabletop. Lean forward for chaturanga. Bend those elbows. Come all the way flat. Inhale to lift the chest, baby cobra. And exhale to your rest position, taking another moment of stillness here. Inhale as you find your tabletop and exhale to downward facing dog, hips up to the sky. Deepen the breath. Step your left foot into lunge. Step up to half lift. Slowly lower to fold. And slowly round the spine up to standing. Give me a deep breath in through the nose, lifting arms out at your sides, up overhead. Exhale out through the mouth, lowering arms back down at your sides. We're going to move into a little bit of balance. We're going to take dancer today. So we'll have two options. One if you're having a little bit of trouble with balance, and then the other if you can sort of find balance on that one leg for a bit. So we're all going to start with the weight in the left foot. In our standing legs, we want to put tiny micro bends, so don't lock out the joint, and really turn on the thigh muscles. You should feel the muscles around the knee lift and activate that glute as well. Left arm's going to come up to the ceiling. Bend your right knee and reach down for your ankle from the outside. If you can hold the leg still, we're going to hold it here. If this is a bit of a challenge for you, you're going to work here, just lowering the toes down to the mat and then lifting them back to the hand, back and forth through the entirety of the exercise. If you've got hold of your ankle, draw the knees so they're close together. Using the strength of your core and your low back, you're going to kick into your right hand, opening the chest, reaching back. Core is active. We're going to hold it here. If you're familiar with the full version of dancer, you're more than welcome to fall forward, but I'm just going to teach for here today. We're still breathing. And then everyone gently release, stepping your foot down to the mat, bringing arm down by your side. We'll switch all the way into the right foot, tiny micro bend in the knee, turn on that glute and the thigh. Right arm extends up to the ceiling, and we're either lifting and lowering the left foot or we're holding on from the outside. If you've got that hold, we're going to kick into the hands, open the chest, activate the core and holding here. So not only are we strengthening our low back and our core, we're opening our chest, we're strengthening those standing legs. Just focus on the breath. And on your exhale, we'll slowly step our foot back down to the floor, release our arm down by our sides. Deep breath in, arms overhead. And exhale to folds, belly to thighs. We'll hang out for a few breaths here, maybe gently swaying side to side. Maybe closing the eyes for a moment, focusing on the sensations. And nice and slow we'll rise back up to a standing position. Try to keep the eyes closed here as we take another deep breath in, lifting arms up overhead. Exhaling out the mouth, back to forward fold. Hanging out here, letting the head and arms hang heavy. Eyes are closed. We're deepening the breath. Slowly rise to half lift, opening the eyes. Step into plank one last time, and we're going to hold here for about 10 seconds. If you're tired, you can lower down to your belly early. We're all making our way there eventually. We're holding for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Come all the way down to the mat. Belly flat. Bring the toes together, but let the heels fall out. Turn your head to one side so you can rest on your cheek. And lower your arms down at your sides, palms face up. We'll take a short rest period here. So wiggle the shoulders away from the ears. And just let go onto the mat. Maybe your eyes sort of naturally close at this time. And slowly turn your head to the opposite side. Again, just resting here. Go ahead and bend your knees, bringing toes up towards the ceiling. And slowly windshield wiper the feet, just letting feet fall side to side, nice and slowly. I gave a lot of options for back bends. And this movement here is good at breaking up any tension we might have built up in our low back, particularly with those back bends a little earlier. Then return your legs to the mat. Bring your chin to the mat, place your hands underneath your shoulders, and press one last time into your rest position. If you're in child's, we'll take a rounded variation this time, bringing arms along the sides of the body, melting the shoulders down towards the floor. Slowly find a seated position with the legs extended down the length of your mat. Make sure your sits bones are grounded firmly to the floor, feet are flexed. Lift the arms overhead, drop chin to chest, then round the spine into rounded back stretch, bringing hands to the knees, elbows pointing out to long edges of the mat. Again, melting the shoulders away from the ears and taking a few breaths here as we relieve some tension from the spine. Deepen the breath. Slowly start to straighten the spine into staff pose, placing hands on either sides of your hips, finding length through the spine towards the ceiling before relaxing back to a neutral position. If you're not already sitting in the center of your mat, make your way there now. Bend the knees and plant your feet to the floor. Place your hands on the back side of your thighs and we'll roll down nice and slow until we're flat on our back. We'll straighten our legs onto the mat. Lift your arms up overhead. Give me a nice long stretch through the tips of your fingers, out through the toes. And as you exhale, we'll release, bringing arms back down at our sides. Draw knees in towards our chest, feet side by side. Wrapping the arms around the shins, pulling thighs close to body and holding here. If this is uncomfortable on your knees, you can hold on to the back of the thighs instead. Getting a nice roundness for the low back. Leaving any tension down there. Just breathing here. Keep your knees drawn in towards your chest, but release your arms down towards the floor at shoulder height and palms face up. Slowly let the knees fall to the right into reclined spinal twist and gently turn your head to the left. If the eyes aren't already closed, I'll suggest closing them now as this is our last pose before our final resting pose. Just help prepare your body for some stillness. We're starting to remove that focus from the physical and turning it inward. Slowly draw knees back to the center of the chest. Let them fall over to the left as head gently turns to the right. Focus is on the breath. Slowly draw the knees back to center. Wrap your arms around them one more time, pulling them close to the chest. We'll hold for another few seconds here. Take a deep breath in through your nose, holding it here, lifting your head to meet your knees, holding the breath. Exhale out through the mouth and release the body, laying flat on the mat, separating arms and legs nice and wide. Palms face up, toes fall out. And again, attention comes back to the breath. I want you to follow every rise and fall of your chest. Imagining that with every exhale, you relieve a little more tension and stress from the body. Relax your brow, bring some ease to the muscles around the eyes. And follow the pattern of your breath into relaxation. I'll let you know when it's time to rise. If your focus has wandered, bring your attention back to your breath. Start to deepen your breath. Start to wiggle your fingers and your toes. Welcome movement back to your body. Start to roll over to the right side of your body, taking a moment of stillness on your side, maybe using your arm as a pillow. Keeping your eyes closed or your gaze low to the floor, slowly press yourself up to a comfortable seated position. As always, to end class, we'll take 3 cleansing breaths together as one. That's breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth. Today, we're going to add some movement to our breath. So as we exhale, we'll round the spine, dropping chin to chest. As we inhale, we'll lift and arch the spine, tilting our head up towards the ceiling. And we'll do that 3 times through. Let's all start on an exhale, rounding the spine, dropping chin to chest. Slowly draw the breath in through the belly, into the chest as you lift and arch, tilting head up towards the ceiling. Then exhale, rounding spine, chin to chest for 1. Inhale, feeling belly, feeling chest, lifting and arching. Exhale, rounding the spine, chin to chest for 2. Last one, deepest breath you can take as you lift and arch the spine. Slow exhale out through the mouth as we round chin to chest. Take a second to thank your body and your mind for getting you through this practice. And I'd like to thank you as well for letting me lead you on this practice today. There is a light within me that honors the light within each and every single one of you. Thanks so much for practicing with me today, you guys. I hope you enjoyed the class. I know we did a lot of heart opening, allows us to express and accept more love into our lives. If you enjoyed this class and you'd like to try this class out again, a new version of this class gets aired every Monday at 8 a.m. If you're looking for something a little more challenging on the body, I also teach a core yoga class, and that's aired every Wednesday at 8 a.m. I hope to see you guys next time. Please leave any comments, questions, concerns you might have in the comments. I'll do my best to get back to you. Thanks so much. I hope to see you guys next week.